All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Jam Band News. We are here tonight with Chris Spallina, co producer for Music on the Mountain. Chris works with and for the Phoenix, who is putting on this event along with the Divided Sky Foundation. Welcome, Chris.
What's up, Jim? Thanks for
Hey,
having me. I'm excited to
of
be here.
course. Thank you for coming. And thank you for putting on this event. As I did share with you when we spoke previously, I am from Ludlow, Vermont, where this event is happening. So for me to see such a uplifting, positive event coming to my hometown, but then B, seeing these, I mean, legitimately three of my favorite bands coming to my hometown is a very special thing. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, we're very excited about it too.
Cool.
It's also been a fun process. This is my first time being part of planning what's turning out to be a pretty major thing, and it's been a fun experience. Just networking with people like yourself and other people in the industry. It's been a cool eye opener for me.
It's honestly a similar experience on my end. Just getting to know you, getting to know Ross from Divided Sky. It's a very cool. I feel like I'm making new buds, not just helping you guys, promote. So
Sure, same.
it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
All right, so Music on the Mountain is taking place Saturday, May 18th at Jackson Gore Village, which is on Okemo Mountain in Ludlow, Vermont. For anybody who has never been to Okemo or to Jackson Gore, this is Jackson Gore Village. And this particular view is what you're going to be looking at when you're in the audience dancing, looking at Anders and Dogs in a Pile up on stage. The stage is going to be right here, and that's the backdrop. And it's a really cool space. This picture doesn't do it justice, but it's a full half circle, these buildings, and they kind of create a little amphitheater. So I'm kind of excited to see music there.
It's so cool. I've heard from a couple of other people that have done this type of thing before, that when I told them that we're doing it at Jackson Gore at one of the Vail resorts, they're like, man, those Vail resorts are just built for stuff like this. Like, it is exactly what you said. It's like a natural amphitheater.
Sorry, I was going to open a window. No, it really is. And actually, when I walked in, when you first, the parking is on the other side of these buildings. So you actually, granted, it might be, I don't know what it'll be for the day of the event. But the day that I went there, you walk up right through that entrance here, right through here into the space. And the second, sort of as my view got bigger, I was just like, holy crap, this is perfect.
Yeah, it really is. I think as it stands right now, we won't be walking in through that section because that's going to be the backstage area.
Correct.
Oops. What I think is it's going to be, if you scroll out on that, zoom out on that picture where that red building is, that's the roundhouse. You'll be entering from that side, and then in front of that building there will be where the food trucks are.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of space over here. Around that corner.
And luckily, if what's not going to, but if it were to rain too hard for us to put on a show, that place right there is called the Roundhouse, and it's big enough to fit however many people we want, and we'll have the show in there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, Vail was very happy to hook us up, set us up for success.
Yeah, that's huge. Actually, I didn't know that.
It's not going to rain though, so we don't have to worry.
Well, hey, everybody was, or you may not be tuned into this. You're down in Jersey.
I'm in Jersey.
Yeah. Are you guys getting hyped for the eclipse?
Yeah, we are. Right. We're going to get, I saw it, we're going to get about 89% of the eclipse. Yeah. So that's dope.
I'm actually in Connecticut for the eclipse. I won't be in Vermont, unfortunately, where they're going to have the full thing. But everybody's getting super stoked up there. And I lost my entire point of bringing up the eclipse.
Well, speaking of the eclipse and possible rain and everything else, did you see the article comparing people going to Vermont to Coventry?
Yes.
I'm like, amazing. I absolutely love that we're now comparing fish to a celestial event.
It,
but like I don't see the parallel.
they're cosmic, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But actually, you just reminded me of my point. Everybody's been in a panic because Vermont this time of year is known for being cloudy, you know. But the forecast for the eclipse, it looks perfect. And I'm going to say we're going to carry that energy into May.
Yeah. Well, this will be the third year that we're having the fun run
Yes.
right outside front there, and fingers crossed. We've had perfect weather. The first year was like summer; it was amazing. Second year
Yeah.
was like a little bit cloudy and overcast, but warm and no wetness. So
Yes.
we're just gonna keep with that vibe.
I love it. And you mentioned the fun run, which is being put on by Divided Sky Foundation, and it's before the concert event.
Right. So this is the third annual Divided Sky Foundation Fun Run. How that kind of came about, Melanie from the Divided Sky reached out to some of my now close friends that run the Antelope Running Club, which is just a group of fish fans that like running. And they decide, Melanie's also a runner, and decided, hey, we're going to put on this fundraiser. And that first year, I got invited to help be on the planning committee, which as a volunteer, not as like a Phoenix employee. And obviously, I jumped at the chance, being a total fish nerd and a dude in recovery, and being able to support such a fantastic organization founded by Trey. And it's been really cool getting to know them. So this is the third year, and it's grown every year since. And then this year we finally decided, like, hey, what I noticed, and this is just me driving 5 hours from New Jersey to Vermont for this, is like everyone is coming on Friday night. We have this awesome event in the morning from 9 a.m. to about noon. And then in May, there's not much else to do in Ludlow unless you're going to go hiking or bike riding or something like that. So like, let's make this like a destination, right? So that's where the idea of Music on the Mountain came from. Was like, let's give people something to do after the fun run. Hopefully that makes more people want to run and support this mission and help us raise funds. Yep. And then we kind of are taking that a step further. So we'll talk a little bit more about what the Phoenix is, but we're also coming up with a calendar of like mini events from Thursday all the way through Sunday.
Oh, no kidding.
So things like hiking, yoga, art, maybe like zero proof meetups. We're still kind of like, that's still kind of like gelling, but we're coming up with an event of 6 to 10 smaller events that are happening throughout the weekend. So there should always be something cool to do.
Heck yeah. That's super exciting. And I want to point out too, the concert itself isn't like a late at night concert, which I greatly appreciate. It starts at 2.
Starts at 2. So the doors open at 2. Music will probably start around 3. Generally the run kicks off at 9, I believe, and then all the festivities that follow a 5K. I don't know if you're anything like me. A 5K is taking me like more than 30 minutes, but there's some people that there's some people that are gonna, there's some folks that are going to run that in 15 or 16 or 17 minutes. And then there's some cool speakers and some vendors and stuff that'll be out there afterwards. But generally those festivities end around noon. So we figured, giving people 2 hours to go up to their hotel room, shower, change, whatever, hang out. There's a couple of things we might do in between for the option for people that either aren't staying or don't need to go chill for a few before they walk into the music festival. But that was the thinking, like let everyone kind of chill. And also we wanted to get done before dark. So we should be probably going from like maybe 2 to 8, something like that.
I love it. And like I said, I'm somebody that really appreciates it. I love going to shows, but the older I get, and point is, I lose energy early.
Yes, same. Especially when you got 3 bands back to back. I can't stay up past 10 p.m.
No.
Not sober. It's hard to do sober. Yeah,
exactly. And what's really cool and really special to me as a parent is this is an event I can bring my kids to, and we're home like at a fairly normal weekend bedtime.
Yep. And to that too, like the other main part of this, besides raising awareness for Divided Sky Foundation, besides raising awareness for the Phoenix, and kind of like us getting our feet wet in producing a larger scale music event, is that it's a completely substance-free event. So there's no alcohol sales. There'll be zero proof beverages, and it's a way for us to celebrate recovery. So something that I think is super cool I don't know if you know. Do you know Jay Osborne? Jay, he's also from Ludlow. He's the
No.
organizer for the fellowship.
Oh no, I
And
don't.
we got on a call and we were chatting about this. And so Fish isn't playing, so the fellowship's not going to be there. The Grateful Dead's not playing, so the Wharf Rats are not going to be there. Biscuits aren't playing, so Digital Buddhas aren't going to be there. But we said, hey, so like none of them Yellow Balloon groups have a claim to this because none of their bands are playing. So let's invite them all.
Yes.
So as it stands now, we're going to have a
Yes.
row of the Wharf Rats, the Fellowship, and Happy Hour Heroes.
That's really cool.
Like, and to my knowledge, I think it's the first time that all of them have kind of like set up shop in the same place.
I can't.
So,
I mean, I've been to a few festivals. There's always
yeah,
a
festival,
tent, a table.
yeah, right.
But to have everybody, that's really cool.
Right. I think it's going to be really cool. I think it'd be really cool just for, you know, like besides celebrating recovery, I want to go out on a limb and say there's some people that are going to come there that didn't know that Yellow Balloon groups exist.
Yeah.
And now they're going to get exposed to a bunch of them and say, hey, this is really cool. Like, it's changing the way that we look at the music scene. Like, there's a place for us to go out and have fun and bring our kids out and stay sober and not put ourselves in harm's way.
Yeah. And I will say, Ross mentioned that he didn't, I didn't know it was going to be such a wide array, but he mentioned there were some Yellow Balloon groups that you guys were reaching out to and trying to coordinate with.
And the first thing,
well, that's why the first thing that popped into my head is I'm excited to go just rub elbows and say hi to these different groups. And it gave me this idea. Ross and I were kind of having this conversation about, as we do, about sobriety and things. And I don't know, it got me thinking that using our channels here for some sort of roundtable discussion every once in a while and inviting like yourself, people like yourself, the heads of the Yellow Balloon groups, and just kind of have like, I don't know, maybe
I
monthly
love
or
that
something.
idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I know some of the, at least here in Jersey, Wharf Rats are big. So they actually do like and other chapters, they do in-person Wharf Rats meetings. I mean, it could be just a straight, you know, sobriety and jam bands, like roundtable discussion. I love that idea. I'd be happy to be part of that.
The state of, you know, what bands have tables, the state of things where, because I think people probably, the conversation I had with Ross was basically me having a lot of questions for navigating this, you know, being a sober person in this space. And all of those questions I think are answered by the guys and gals at the Yellow Balloon tables.
Yeah.
But here I am feeling shy and I shouldn't go up and talk to them, you know? So I'm probably not alone in that. And I thought maybe, you know,
I love that idea.
Conversation around
I would be more than happy to be part of that. And I think when we get together in May, we can make those connections and say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Let's do it, man.
Yes.
I will say this, like, I mean, I've been going to shows since, you know, the late 90s. And although the Wharf Rats have always been around and the Fellowship has always been around in my music career, like it is much more prevalent now. And there's many more people that are, or at least openly in recovery or sober at these shows. Maybe it's because we're all getting older now. Maybe it's just like the stigma changing. I think it's a combination of all of it. But I can remember like walking by the Wharf Rats tables in the 90s and being like, why would I ever want to get sober? Like I don't want to. And then later on being like, shit, I should get sober. And then later on being like, now that I'm sober, I can go there. Like I have a place. You know, my first experience, like when I first got sober back in 2018, I was hesitant to go back to shows because I didn't know what to expect from myself. And I went to Madison Square Garden actually with Jay, who we were just talking about, and I volunteered to run the Wharf Rats table at the Halloween Dead and Company show.
Nice.
And it was such an overwhelmingly phenomenal experience for me that just changed everything for me, knowing like these are my people, this is my music, this is my scene. Like I can do this. Like being sober doesn't have to be boring and like lonely.
Well,
you know, it's just like a light switch.
Twiddle has a great sober group, Daydream Farmers, and that's actually in my very early sobriety what helped me be like, oh no, wait, there is a community of people here. I can find new friends, and so Yeah,
Yeah.
these things are huge.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Very cool stuff. So I think just like, and not just the jam band scene. I mean, that's where we're at, but
Yeah.
the tide is turning in the music world, music industry to embrace these
Hope so.
mocktails and zero proof and like sober sections and like on a larger scale. Like there's a couple of arenas across the country that now have a dedicated mocktail space and a sober section. And I think that's kind of like a growing trend. I'm happy to see it.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
and all of these things too for me have turned me into somebody that brings my kids to shows with me.
Right.
And so hearing all stuff like that, I'm just
Right.
this is fabulous.
Right. Right. For sure.
So you guys do a lot of sober events. Talk to me about the Phoenix. What do you guys?
Yeah. So
What's your core?
I guess I'll actually start sharing with you how I found the Phoenix and what it's done for me, right? Okay. So I am a person in sustained recovery since May 24th of 2018. I've been trying in one shape or another to get sober for, I don't know, 15 years at that point. I've been to 9 different treatment centers and detoxes, multiple jails. I got arrested at Super Bowl, actually at Watkins Glen.
Hey.
Yay. And I ended up going to prison in New York because in New York State is not like New Jersey. In New Jersey, they're like, okay, probation, drug court, whatever. New York State was like, yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Get away with that. Not in like, Watkins Glen, New York, maybe New York City.
Right.
But so I got sentenced to 3 years for that. And
oh, wow.
Luckily in New York State, they had at the time, and I believe it still exists, a diversionary program called shock incarceration. Okay. So I got the option of either doing 3 years in prison or I got to do 6 months in this camp. And I don't know, at the time I was thinking to myself, like, any way you cut it, 6 months looks better than 3 years. Even if they're like, go stand on your head in a corner for 8 hours a day for 6 months, I was going to do it. Yeah. So I did that, and I got there, and it was really rough at first. It was run like a military style boot camp, waking up 4:30 in the morning, having to do all kinds of like exercising and running and saying sir, yes sir, and
can't imagine.
It was a lot. I mean, I started that program with 60 people and only 17 of us finished. The rest decided they'd just go back to prison and finish their prison sentence. Oh, wow. But for me at the time, I was the first time in my life that I was really ready to get my shit together. And I can remember you got to be ready. I can remember halfway through that having this realization, I was running 3 miles a day in the morning and making my bed and showing respect to authority. Organization and discipline, all these things that I never had thought of before. Yeah. And I started really being optimistic about what life could be like without substances.
Pretty cool how that happens.
It really was. I can remember the day and how I felt and what the weather looked like. It was one of those epiphanies or realizations that I don't a lightning strike kind of thing. Yeah. So I finished that program and I got out and I stayed sober for over a year just by continuing with the fitness stuff. I was running in all these 5Ks and Spartan races, and I was going to music and I was doing great. And then I'm laughing. It's not funny, but it's funny to me now because I can look back at my younger self. And after the year, I got off parole, and there was that little bit of lack of oversight anymore. And then I was like, oh, well, I could run this 5K and I have the one beer afterwards that they give you and you cross the finish line. And 6 months later, that one beer was turning into 12 in an 8-ball. Yeah. So between 2015 and 2018, I went back to just everything that I was doing. Yeah. And unfortunately, or fortunately for me at this point, is when fentanyl became really pervasive. Yeah. So between that time, I had 4 near fatal overdoses. It got bad. I got some more charges. And then this last time in 2018, I had my last time that I used, my last overdose. I went to county jail for 2 months. The judge and my family and my girlfriend worked out a deal with my attorney that they would release me if I would go to treatment. So I left the county jail in the sheriff's van in handcuffs and went to a treatment center. I walked in a treatment center and I sat on this woman's couch and most comfortable couch in the world at this point. I was just so relieved to finally like be alive and be somewhere other than jail.
Yeah.
Like, talk to her. I told her a lot of my story, and it turns out this woman, Ashley, like, was a total biscuits and fish fan. She actually got married. She got married at a fish concert. So I'm like,
wow.
Somebody gets, she got me, right?
Yeah.
She understood me right off the bat. And I told her, like, hey, this is what has worked for me. This is what hasn't worked for me. I'm trying to like figure this out. I need something different. And she introduced me to yoga, and I kind of like laughed in her face. First, she was like, are you willing to do whatever it takes? I'm like, yeah, I'll take suggestions, whatever. She's like, oh, well, I want you to try meditation and yoga. And I kind of laughed. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to go to Lululemon and get a pair of Lululemon pants, and I'm going to solve all my problems.
Yeah, right.
But I really, if somebody had told me at that point, if you sacrifice chickens every day, you'll stay sober, I would have sacrificed chickens every day.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then like started kind of like diving into the more Eastern philosophies and meditation and stuff. And instantly, I like within weeks, I knew like I was onto something with this.
Yeah.
And like just kind of like what I noticed happened to me a lot of times was I would get sober for 30, 60, 90 days and be doing good. And then like all these feelings of like guilt and shame and embarrassment would start coming up, and bills and legal challenges. And then I would just use to not have to think about those things and just keep piling more on. Right.
Yeah.
Through those practices, I kind of like found a balance there. I was just kind of like acceptance is kind of where I was at that point. Like, okay, well, this is it. And like that happened, but this is where I am now, and I can move forward. While I was in there, somebody came in to teach a yoga class, and she asked me what I was going to do when I left. And I was like, hadn't thought about that yet. I was like, and she's like, well, come check this thing out when you leave. We're doing free yoga and fitness, and all you have to do is stay sober. Nice. So when I left that treatment center, I went to what is now the Phoenix, and I just never left. Woman's name was Amy, who has become one of my very best friends. And I started as a member. I was doing yoga 3 or 4 times a week. Became a volunteer. I actually was on probation at the time. I did my community service that I had to do, court-ordered community service as a volunteer to Phoenix. And now I'm the senior regional manager, so I oversee all of our programming from Connecticut through through Georgia. So we've reached almost 400,000 people with free programming through the Phoenix. And what that means is the Phoenix is a nationwide nonprofit organization. Our mission is to build a sober, active community that fuels resilience and harnesses the transformational power of connection. So together we rise, recover, and live. And that means all across the country. Now in Canada, we offer free events like yoga, CrossFit, climbing, hiking, biking, art, music. We have a virtual Dungeons and Dragons groups that meets twice a month. Yeah. So like literally anything that our volunteers can think of that they have a skill or talent that they want to share, that's safe and physically and emotionally supportive, we will help them facilitate it. So, I mean, at the core of it, I believe this. I mean, I have a few things like music and fitness are pretty much the things that are crucial to my daily staying sober. Yeah. But at the core of it, I don't really believe it's the activity that matters. It's the group of people around you. So you see, we have a knitting club, a crochet circle, a spin class. It's just about getting together with like-minded, and like we were talking about with the fellowship and the Yellow Balloon groups. Yeah. It's a bunch of people that want to live a healthy and sober lifestyle and have fun doing it and support each other in their journey.
It's this idea of people from different walks of life is something that kind of hit me profoundly when I first started in recovery. I went to AA, and I didn't vibe with AA, but in those first 6 months or so, it was hugely important. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite memories is this older, very elderly gentleman that was there, telling about his college experiences pre-World War II.
Wow.
About the binge drinking and the partying and how that's kind of where things started to go wrong for him. And it was crazy because this guy was telling my story. Yeah. But it happened to him before World War II. And I was, yeah. So we can, it does really bring everybody together.
And I think that's it, right? And I think we know this from our scene, from the jam band scene. Like, there is nothing that is so fulfilling than human connection, right? Like,
truly,
when you get out there, you're like, I'm with my people. When I go to a Phoenix class, whether that's in New Jersey or California, I'm with my people. You know, I feel a part of something greater than myself. And I think something that's really exceptional about what we do too. And same as you, like, 12 step is a part of my journey. It's not the ultimate, like, it's not the thing that I rely on every day, but all of these, everyone has their own puzzle that they have to put together. For me, that included medication, that included therapy, that included going to prison, that includes 12 step. What's cool about the Phoenix is literally the only requirement is that you have 48 hours of continuous sobriety, and that's self-reported. So
I like that.
when I tell somebody new about the Phoenix and why they should come, I say, if you are a person that identifies as being in recovery from a substance use disorder or a mental health challenge, are a supporter of someone who is, or you just want to come have some sober fun, we want you to join us. Because not everyone who has 48 hours sober or wants to have sober fun is going to say, I'm a person in recovery. Maybe they're not in recovery from substance use. I know there's tons of our members that are recovering from eating disorders or trauma or PTSD or whatever. We're there to support each other. We don't care where you came from. We care that you're here.
And you actually are reminding me of some of the things that I talked with Ross about from Divided Sky. I was sharing with him a little bit that my personal issues through AA and then therapy and other things I discovered were much bigger than substances.
Yeah.
And so I kind of can have unhealthy addictions to a lot of things, including food was a big issue for me, and still is and can be. And the other thing that we talked about, and I love the language he gave me, was how we kind of, even though like AA wasn't the thing for me, but I still learned a lot there that I hold with me. And so I kind of have all these things in my toolbox, you know? And so I feel like we all have a very unique journeys through recovery and stuff, and life in general. But you learn things and you kind of put them in your toolbox, and then,
you take what you need and you leave the rest. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. It's been an amazing experience for me, like being able to just share what has been so healing for myself with other people, with lots of other people at this point too. And now we're getting really creative. Like, this is our first kind of foray into larger music events, but we do smaller scale music events all the time. We also are going out to some of the larger festivals, Jazz Fest, Coachella, Bourbon and Beyond, Park City Song Summit, and we're setting up these wellness areas where you can go in, similar to the idea of the Yellow Balloon groups, but just a space for people that don't want to drink alcohol or consume substances. It's been amazing to see that happen. Last year at Borderland, sick lineup. It was Goose on Friday night, Trey, Classic Tab on Saturday, and then Mo on Sunday, with Infamous String Dusters, bunch of kick-ass people in between. And that's when we first connected with Ross, because we've been doing this fun run with them for the last 2 years. But when this opportunity came up, we said, hey, we're going to set up a sober space here where Divided Sky like to come and join us. And what a positive response we got, not only from members of our community, but the locals from Buffalo and Aurora were coming out. They read about the Phoenix Divided Sky sober space in the newspaper, and they just want to come see what it was about because they're sober and they've never seen anything like it before. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that, kind of partnering with vision aligned organizations and other sort of businesses and vision aligned or value aligned people that want to come and kind of like change the way that we look at recovery and sobriety in the music scene.
Well, and to that end, one of the things, like we talked about, the event you guys are doing, Music on the Mountain, is an event that is on the earlier side. This past New Year's Eve, I went and saw Mahali did a solo New Year's Eve show in Middlebury, and he very much purposely kept it a small, family-friendly event. It was over, I think we were out of there at 10 p.m. on New Year's Eve,
Great.
Yeah, but he did.
Great. You had
Everybody had
enough
their
time.
kids
You had
there.
enough time to take a nap before the ball dropped.
Exactly. Well, everybody had their kids there. They did a fake countdown and ball drop there for everybody, and then we're back home in PJs
Yeah,
watching Fish's great game henge set. You know,
it was so
perfect.
sick too. I mean, that was a very cool experience to be able to watch that from my couch too.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it was
very
like a
special.
culmination of 30 years of everything I've been chasing.
Oh, well, I'm the idiot too that's been since the '90s. Like every show, what are they going to play? Harpua into Gamehenge, Harpua. That's what's happening
Oh
tonight.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Uh,
we're really excited about it, and like the
nice.
lineup that we have for Music on the Mountain. Anders is a sober dude. He started an organization called Send Me a Friend.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard about it at all.
Ross was telling me.
Yeah, so when he
Yeah.
first got sober as a musician and like a grueling tour circuit in the bar scene, he was thinking like it would be cool to have some sober friends with him when he had to go backstage or get on go on
Yeah.
tour.
Okay.
So he
Yeah.
created this network, and there's thousands of volunteers in it now. So if any of these musicians that are newly sober and they just want some companionship, backstage or in between sets, they can go on and Send Me a Friend through the Phoenix and connect with people all over the country. So not only are we creating a space for fans like you and myself, yourself and me, but for the artists and the industry as well.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I want to share this. Is an album by Mike Zito, but on this album, I believe it's on this album, he has a collaboration with Anders Osborne called One Step at a Time. And
Very cool.
it's a phenomenal song. And it's a song that I heard 15, 20 years, I don't have 15 years at least probably before I got sober myself. And it stuck with me. And it was always there. Is it such a good song? But then when I did get sober, it became like a daily listen, you know?
Yeah.
So highly recommend anybody out there. Mike Zito, Anders
Definitely
Osborne.
check it out. And
Yep.
yeah, just like dogs have been they're so excited to be part of this. Dogs and Paul, like they've reached out to us just to share how much gratitude they have for being
Well,
part of this.
they're young dudes and they've been, obviously they're extremely talented, but they've been really impressing me just on their humanity lately.
Yeah.
I know they've been doing stuff with Groove Safe
Yep.
and now they're doing this. I'm a big fan.
By the way, if Groove Safe is listening, I sent an email yesterday to
Ah,
invite you to the festival to come out and set up your
yes.
resource table.
Groove Safe, come on out.
Come on out. Yeah. Yeah, they're super cool. And Saints and Liars, a local Burlington
Yep.
bluegrass band.
Yep.
The guy Jed reached out. He's going to be running the 5K with his family beforehand.
Oh, no
Like,
way.
everybody's like really on board with this.
Excellent. Well, and I love, like you said, you're turning it into like a weekend event.
Right.
I'm very excited to see what you guys have.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, if anybody that's listening that is a resource to the community, we want you to come on out. Send us. You can check right on there on the website how to contact us to be a vendor. We're looking for art and craft vendors. We're looking for resource vendors. We have some food trucks and beverage vendors. But if this is something that you want to be part of, especially as a resource for the community, just come out and tell people that are coming what you're all about and what services you provide. We want you to come out. Like, this really is that, to celebrate recovery and celebrate the people that are out there doing the good work.
And I gotta say, there's a great art community in Vermont. Just trying to think of anybody I can reach out to, but I know there's a lot of phenomenal artists that would probably love to have a table at an event like this.
Yeah, anyone come on out. And I will also say we're not charging vendors to set up.
Oh,
We're asking that at the end of the day, if you feel so inclined, to make a donation to Divide Sky.
that's amazing.
Right. So
And
Vail has been cool with us to not charge us to bring the vendors on. So we're just passing that on as
that's
the inaugural
huge.
event. Like, we want you to come. I think we're pretty well set for food vendors, so I don't think we're going to be able to accommodate any more food trucks.
Okay.
But as like a table and a tent, if you have something that you want to share with the community, and it's something that you're selling, just we're not asking you to pay just make a donation that speaks to you at the end of the day.
That's amazing, because I think what you'll get with that is some real amazing talent, but also, people that are appreciative to have the space, because it
Yeah.
can be hard to get a table at an event like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oddly
And-
enough, the first two people that reached out to us were both different vintage denim
no way.
crafts persons, which
That's
I thought was
cool.
awesome. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah, I love denim. Bring them out. Bring it out.
It's funny. The one person I thought of was actually my mom, but I don't know where she's at in her. She's just started a new crafting business, but one of the things that she's making is like purses out of old jeans and stuff. Like what do they call it?
Yep.
Upcycling.
Upcycling. Love
There
it. Denim all the way. Let's do it.
Oh, and you mentioned it's amazing you guys are giving that opportunity to the to anybody that might want to come show their art and stuff. But even the tickets, you guys it's a donation, a suggested donation of $20.
Mm-hmm.
But you give a lot of options. Some
Yeah.
people, $20 might be tough, so there's options, even free for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then say $20, you're like, I usually spend $100 when I go out on a Saturday. Hey, you could help hook up some of those people that can,
And I'll say that
pay it
response to that is more than what I expected. We've had a lot of people.
Really?
We had a lot of my whole thing, and like I told you about with the Phoenix, we want to make sure that our events are open and accessible to anybody, regardless of their ability to pay. So that's where this comes from. Is we want you to come. We want you there more than your money. Yeah. So if you cannot afford the $20, get a ticket at $0. Every dollar that is raised from this goes directly to the Divided Sky Foundation and to support their scholarships for people that need recovery retreats. And we've had a bunch of people pay it forward to, pay more than the $20 donation for their ticket. I'm really excited about that. One
of my hopes in one of my, not that I don't know why I deserve to have personal hopes for your event, but but one of my hopes for this event being in my hometown is that there's kids there that are not loving their hometown right now, and if they're it's a poor area that I'm from there, it is, and if some of those families that otherwise don't get out to do a whole lot as a family, like this is right in their backyard.
Yeah.
And I'm so stoked for them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm super eager to plaster the posters around and stuff for you.
That's a big part of it too. They've made a real effort. Divided Sky Foundation has made a real effort to be part of the Ludlow community. And with the fun run the last few years, the community has came out and set up water tables in their driveway for people that are running the 5K. So that's a big part of the strategy here, is to make sure that this is something that the community wants and that the community wants to be part of.
I love this. Is there anything we're missing that people should know about?
I don't think so. If you're interested in the Phoenix, check out our website that Jim shared already. Download our app. It has a geolocator on it, so that means that wherever you're at in the country or abroad, it'll show you all of the events that are within 50 square miles of where you live. There's also a full schedule of 80 plus virtual events, so no excuses if you can't attend an in-person event because there's not one near you. You can do it from the comfort of your home, like me and Jim watched Gamehenge this year.
Yep.
So we can do it
and we'll watch next New Year's too.
Yeah, sober. I'll be watching Sphere from my couch now. It sounds
Same.
like. Yeah.
Obviously they're not, but huge missed opportunity for a VR stream.
Yeah. True. True.
Someday.
Yeah. True.
Someday.
So yeah, and I think the goal here is this is the inaugural year, and we hope to grow it every year till indefinitely. So if everything goes well, and it seems that everything's going well and it's being really well received to the community, next year we'll go bigger.
And that's the same sentiment I got when I spoke with Ross. There seems to be a lot of looking forward to the future, which again, I love to hear.
Yep. And to just throw out there too, we're looking for brand sponsorships for the event. So something I think that's unique about this too is when we say sponsorships for the event, the same goes with that. Any dollar that's collected from a sponsorship is going directly to sponsor somebody to go to the recovery retreat at the Divided Sky Foundation. So the Phoenix is not taking a dollar from this. every dollar that is raised through donations, through ticket sales, through poster sales, through sponsorships goes 100% directly to the Divided Sky Foundation. And specifically the sponsorships, it costs $8,500 for a month for somebody to go to Divided Sky. So, and that breaks down into weeks too. So the sponsorship levels coincide with what it costs to stay for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. So if there's someone out there that's listening that has the capacity to give and would like to sponsor somebody to attend the recovery retreat at the Divided Sky Foundation, please let us know.
Yes.
And I mean, besides this just being a really fun and cool thing to do, it is a fundraiser, and we want to raise as much money as we can to continue expanding, supporting and expanding the Divided Sky Foundation.
Absolutely. And I do want to just go back before we go, because I can't emphasize enough how perfect of a space this is. You can't tell in this picture, but it really is. It's a half circle. It's a semicircle around you of buildings. Mm-hmm. And the stage is going to be right there in the middle. You've got beautiful Okemo Mountain behind you. There's a lovely view to the sides of other Vermont mountains. It's going to be a very special event.
Yep. And Saints and Liars and Dogs in a Pile and Anders Osborne, like, how cool. What a cool lineup, man. I'm pumped.
Oh my God. Right there.
Yeah. So pumped. So pumped.
It's the stuff dreams are made of.
Really, really. Yeah. And that's how we really feel about it. So please help us get the word out. Invite your friends, invite your family. We're hoping to have a lot of people there. We have a really great response so far. So our goal for the next month or so is to just really get the word out and tell everyone that wants to listen that we're having this cool, fun event to support the foundation and to get out there and celebrate recovery.
Heck yeah.
And if you're into running or walking, the fund run starts at 9 a.m. that day. You can register to walk, jog, run. I'm going to be doing something in between jogging and running, but you can walk it. And if you can't make it out and you still want to support, you can register for a virtual 5K, and you can walk, run, jog, bike, whatever you want on your own.
Oh, that's fun.
To support.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah. Nice.
Shout out to Osiris as well for being one of our sponsors.
Yes, Osiris. Excellent. I was just looking at this map here because this probably goes by a few of my old houses. Oh, it doesn't. No, it goes through town, right?
Yeah. It's a fun little route.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you, the Phoenix. Thank you, Divided Sky Foundation, for doing this amazing event. Thank you, Chris, for coming on and chatting about it. Anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll answer or link you to maybe where there are answers. And thanks for listening.
If anybody has any questions for me personally, you can hit that contact button on the Music on the Mountain website, and that goes right to me.
Perfect. Right here. Right between the butterflies.
Right between the butterflies.
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Chris. Yes.
Have a great day.
You as well.